Let's meet and chat with super well-respected broadcaster Chris Broussard, and we'll do so 9 to noon. Learn more and follow Chris via X at Chris_Broussard. He's the co-host of First Things First on FS1 and founder of the King Movement and KingMovement.com. Chris, it's Paul Allen. Gridiron and gospel, sports and scripture, that's your life, right? And thanks for helping the show.
Hello, Paul. How are you? It's a pleasure to be on. Yeah, I mean, that kind of describes a lot of it. You know, I always give all glory to God and love sports and love covering it and talking about it.
Now, you and I share the gospel and talk about the Bible to thousands yearly, and we also have sports shows. How does the Christian in you manage that balance?
Well, my priority list of my life, really, it's my whole adult life, has been God, family, and career in that order. Obviously, they overlap. But I try to keep those as the priorities: God first, family second, career third. And, you know, as you know, in sports, there are a lot of teams and leagues where, you know, Christianity it's pretty well rooted in a lot of the sports. I mean, basketball, James Naismith created it as a way to share the gospel. You know, that was one of his intentions when he created it. Football, I mean, I remember growing up playing football through high school, and we would always pray before the games as a team. You know, someone would say a prayer. Same thing, my college basketball team. And it wasn't a Christian school, but, you know, somebody would always pray. So that's kind of been a big part of sports. Not that everybody's really followed it and lived it out, but it has had a presence. For me now as a commentator, was the case when I was just a reporter as well, but now that I'm offering opinions, I just try to be fair. You know, the Bible tells us to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I will want, obviously, people to treat me fairly, and so I try to treat people fairly. Sometimes that does involve criticism. I try not to criticize people for personal, you know, like because of personal reasons. I just try to keep it grounded in performance and things like that. And, you know, even as Christians, sometimes there's tough things you have to do. If you were a Christian coach, for instance, you might have to cut a player, and that player would be hurt and upset and all that. But that is just life, and Christians aren't, you know, apart from things like that. So I try to just be fair in my comments about athletes, pro or con, and try to keep it on the field and not, even if I disagree with a person's lifestyle or whatever, I'm not going to criticize them based on it. I'm going to do it based on their performance on the field. I try to never let that stuff enter into my commentary unless the topic is actually about something like that.
Now, Chris is going to be in Minnesota in a couple of weeks for an event called Arise with the Guys at Grace Church in Eden Prairie. I'll be there with C.J. Ham. Cooper Kupp, two-time Super Bowl champion, he'll be there. Likewise for HOF Tony Dungy and much more. Also, the 9 to noon producer Nordo will be at Arise with the Guys. So maybe you guys will meet. And he's also the show's soccer aficionado. And before we talk about Arise with the Guys, I want to start here with Chris Broussard, Chris_Broussard via the X machine. Mr. Broussard, why did you pick France to win the FIFA World Cup? And Nordo, please analyze said take when he's done.
Well, look, I am not a soccer expert, but I am, you know, I do follow it a little bit, and I'm getting more into it as we prepare for the World Cup on Fox. But France, I mean, the roster that they have is incredible. And I'm sure Nordo will agree with that. Oh, yeah. And they're obviously one of the top-ranked teams in the world. They could have won. They came close to winning it last time. And I just think that this is Mbappe and all these guys, like, this is their chance to win it. And I think they're going to get it done. Obviously, Spain, and there's some other top teams that are going to have something to say about that. But I just think I feel like France is the most talented team in the draw.
And I couldn't agree with you more, Chris. The Spain, you nailed it. So they have this 18-year-old Yamal. He's absolutely insane, and he's already kind of being compared as the trajectory he could be on the path of Mbappe, right? So the toughest thing to tell here, Spain most talented roster. Can Yamal be what Mbappe was 2 cups ago when he won it and he was 19? He was the energy bug, the spark. And then you saw him 4 years ago in just this heavyweight battle with Messi in the final. Argentina wins on penalties. The talent of that roster is unbelievable. It feels like, World Cup. And we're going to have 48 teams in the U.S. and Mexico and Canada. 10 teams could potentially win it. No, only 8 countries have only ever won it. And so it almost feels like you're compelled to pick chalk, which France certainly is. But I'm with you, man. I think it's France or Spain, and the rest are just going to be fun fodder for the summertime.
Yeah. And obviously the U.S. team, this last week or so hasn't been good. They're expected to lose to Belgium and Portugal in those friendlies, but they haven't looked good in those games. And, we just really got to see if Christian Pulisic can't kind of come out of this slump, and obviously he's got several months to do so, but if he can't come out of this slump, I think it's going to be a challenge for us to make the quarterfinals, which would be a disaster, I feel.
Man,
no, I agree with you. Yes.
You guys are elite Diego Maradona minds. Holy cow! With that commentary I just heard, man. I mean, I still can't figure out who Mbappe plays for. But the conundrum I have is, would I prefer saying Mbappe or actually playing Mbappe?
I always love that one.
Because that was really good, guys. Chris Broussard, 9 to noon. NBA. You think Wemby is this year's NBA MVP? And that would be over Joker and Doncic, who messed up his hamstring last night. If that's the case, why?
Well, look, I love seeing history made, and I love seeing just remarkable historic type feats. All right. I was so excited when Tom Brady won his 7th Super Bowl with a team outside of New England, the only player, more than any franchise. So I like things like that. And therefore, I would love to see Wemby win it. I mean, he's unlike anything we've ever seen, obviously. I think he could have a career that I think Michael Jordan's the GOAT. I think LeBron's second. If Wemby stays healthy, he could make that discussion irrelevant, and it could be for second place. I mean, he's that talented and has that much potential. But I have to be honest. I am an official voter. As I said earlier, I try to keep everything objective.
Yep.
And I do right now feel like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Oklahoma City is the MVP. And I feel that way because obviously his numbers are great. He's second in the league in scoring. But without his second best player, Jalen Williams, for most of the season, Williams missed about 50 games this year. He still has Oklahoma City with the best record in the league and blowing people out. And so I just think he has been the MVP. I do have Wemby second. I have Jokic third and Luka fourth right now. If somehow, and I don't think it's going to happen, but if somehow San Antonio gets the number 1 seed over OKC, then I believe I would vote for Wemby. But right now, with Shai leading that charge without his second best player, I think he's the MVP.
CB, Chris, do you like the Spurs to win the NBA title?
I haven't made my official pick yet. Right now, I'm kind of going back and forth between OKC and San Antonio. And I think Boston has a shot, but I like the two teams in the West better. The only question, and this is no revelation, with San Antonio is the lack of experience. We have never seen a team with this much inexperience win an NBA championship except 1977 when the Portland Trailblazers led by Bill Walton did it. They're the youngest team ever to win it before OKC last year, but they had less experience than OKC had. And this team, they do have Harrison Barnes in San Antonio. They do have De'Aaron Fox, who have some experience. But the core, the Stephon Castle, obviously Wemby, and even their coach, Mitch Johnson, have never been in the playoffs. So that is the big question. Now, conventional wisdom says that they can't win the championship with such an experience, but we do have to throw conventional wisdom out to a large degree, because conventional wisdom told us we would never see a 7-6 player like Wembanyama doing the things he does. He has better handle than some guards. He shoots it in the mid-range, kind of like a Kevin Durant. I won't say quite that good, but close. He's a very good three-point shooter. Obviously, at the rim, he's unstoppable. And he's the best defensive player I've ever seen. So he may just be the type of guy that changes our thoughts on what is conventional wisdom. And so I very much am giving them a shot to win it all.
And they've beaten OKC 3 or 4 times this year.
Yes. And 4 out of 5, yeah.
Yeah, 4 out of 5, thank you. And OKC, I mean, in the NBA Cup or a couple of those times, really, really brought it. So that should be really good. Chris Broussard, FS1. The show is called First Things First. Football, and then I want to talk about a Rise with the Guys for a second. Our Minnesota Vikings have Kyler Murray in the fold to get all speedy with Jefferson and Addison. How do you think Kyler is going to work out here?
Well, first, I think that was a great move by the Vikings. As far as the quarterbacks that were out there, he obviously has a lot of potential, and he's actually shown it. You know, his first few years in Arizona, made a couple Pro Bowls legitimately and looked like he was going to be a star. But the great thing about him is that if he works out, he could end up being your quarterback for the next several years, because he's still young and maybe could be like a Sam Darnold type turnaround. I think the only question, and I do think they'll overcome this. Obviously, Kevin O'Connell is great with quarterbacks, but Kyler is a guy that, you know, likes to do things on his own, kind of play Superman at times, and he's been successful with his legs and sometimes even with his arm doing that. But I think O'Connell's system is more, this is not an insult, but it's more paint by numbers, you know, be on time, you know, throw it where it's supposed to be thrown, you know, just if you fit into that mold, you can have really good success there, a la Darnold, Kirk Cousins, so on and so forth. And so I just think Kyler has to make that mental adjustment where, look, I don't have to be Superman on every play. Let the offense work for me. Let me just get the ball to my playmakers on the outside and let them do the rest. And occasionally when it's necessary, he can try to, you know, he can be Superman and use his talent. I think Caleb Williams is kind of learning some of the same stuff under Ben Johnson in Chicago. So if Kyler can make that adjustment, and he should be able to, because I would hope he has been humbled. Right? These last few years have been terrible for him. Obviously, Arizona's just paying him to go away. And so you would think he's been humbled and realized, look, I got to study more. I got to, you know, be in the classroom, so to speak. I got to have the right attitude, and I've got to be willing to make adjustments to my game. This is a coach that obviously can do well with quarterbacks. So if he goes in there with that attitude, I think not only could he have some success this year, but he could end up being possibly the Vikings quarterback going forward. And look, whenever you guys under O'Connell have had good quarterback play, you've obviously, you know, been a factor in the NFC playoffs. So I think that this could really be a good year for the Vikings. The division obviously is just a monster. But if Kyler plays well, the Vikings could be right there with the other teams in that division.
Chris, let's close with this. Arise with the Guys, the yearly event. And like some friends, the audience has heard recently here, 9 to noon KFAN, Jason Romano from Sports Spectrum, former NFL MVP Rich Gannon. Chris is going to be at our awesome Arise with the Guys presentation Saturday, April 18th. Tickets and information at arisewiththeguys.com, and we would love to see all of you there. Chris, why is sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ important to you?
Well, one, he does command us to, correct? The Great Commission, he's told us to go make disciples, and teach them to follow his commandments. And so that is a charge that we all as believers have, whether you're in full-time ministry or not. So that's one thing. But also, when you're, as a Christian, having experienced the goodness of the Lord in my life, having seen how he's turned my life around, transformed me morally and in many other ways, and even just knowing through my faith walk over these past few decades, I am obviously, God has blessed me with success in my life, in my career. My family life is great. But the thing that enables me to fully enjoy that to the maximum and to have peace of mind and joy in my heart, no matter what's going on outside, is my faith in Christ and my personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And so, both of us, we work in a business where you see a lot of people with great wealth, great success, great fame and fortune, and yet who aren't fulfilled, aren't happy. And what the void that is in them is that lacking that relationship with Christ. So I want to see people fulfill their potential. I want to see people have an enjoyable life. And I want to see families and individuals and communities transformed. And I believe the way to do that from my own experience and just other people I know is through sharing the gospel with people. And when people accept Jesus Christ, all of that is laid out on the table for you. And so that's really why my heart is so open and desirous of sharing the gospel.
Arise with the Guys this year features Chris, who you hear now, HOF Tony Dungy, two-time Super Bowl champion Cooper Kupp, and CJ Ham. It blends football and faith really, really well. Chris and I will take on each other in a sports topic/trivia game. Then Chris and I speak. Then I get to interview CJ Ham. And after that, Chris, Tony Dungy, and Cooper Kupp take over and bring it on home. And it's going to be amazing. AriseWithTheGuys.com, AriseWithTheGuys.com for tickets and information. Lastly, Chris is the founder of the King Movement and KingMovement.com. Now, you guys just had a big summit in Brooklyn, New York, and it looked terrific when I learned about it yesterday. What's the King Movement, and why is it important to you?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. We had our conference in March in Maryland. Next year's is March 13th and 14th in Brooklyn.
Oh, my fault.
But that's okay. We had Sean Porter, the former welterweight champion there, among a lot of other great guests. But King is a national men's organization I started about 15 years ago. It's an acronym that stands for Knowledge, Inspiration, and Nurture Through God. And essentially our goal is to help strengthen men in their daily walks with Christ, through faith, through fellowship, through training, teaching, encouragement, support, and accountability. And as I said, when you are living your life for Christ, in a lot of cases, you will be in the minority. Obviously the world pushes a lot of things that are contrary to living a Christian lifestyle. And so in the workplace and maybe even in athletics, in most cases, you're going to be around a lot of people that may have a different worldview and different viewpoints and principles than you have. And so it's important for us as Christians to be around like-minded men.
Amen.
Men who are trying to live the same lifestyle that we're living as Christians, men who will encourage us in our faith walk rather than discourage us, or rather than try to get us to do things that, would be contrary to our Christian faith. So that's really what the King movement is about. It's kind of a discipleship program to help men grow in their faith, but also a brotherhood to support men in their faith journey.
Chris, happy Easter, my man, and may God bless you and your family. Can't wait to meet you in person in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much for the time, and it's arisewiththeguys.com. Can't wait to see you there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul, and thanks for having me on. Look forward to seeing you.
Likewise. See you, bud. Chris Broussard, 9 to noon. Back after
Wolves.
Hey there. Welcome back to 9 to noon on this wonderful Good Friday. And joining us now is high-level reporter and tweeter. And Adam Caplan is so plugged into the NFL, he can't fit all of that steam into his brain. If you would like to follow via X, as 9 to noon does, and many others do, it is at Adam Caplan, at Adam Caplan. Hey there. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, Kaplan NFL. Yeah, good to talk to you, my friend. Yeah, it's here we are. We're about, just technically less than 3 weeks away from the draft. Looking forward to it.
What excites you about the draft?
I would tell you that the tight end position, it's really the depth at certain positions. Now, that your Vikings don't need a tight end, but this is the best tight end class probably in the last 15 to 20 years, so I like that. The edge rusher group is interesting. Your Vikings could always use some. But in my, I do team needs for every single team, all 32.
Mm-hmm.
The good news is your Vikings could get a corner. There are some really good corners for this draft.
Right. And, we're going to get into Kenyon Sadiq and some others coming up here momentarily. But when you say this potentially is the best tight ends draft in like the last 15 years, that, of course, is going to fly in the face of 2023 with Laporta, Kincaid, and Tucker Kraft. So, I mean, that's
pretty good.
That's lofty praise right there, Cappy.
Well, you've got Sadiq, Stowers, Max Clare, Roush, Michael Triggs, really underrated.
Yep.
Justin Jolly's a guy that a lot of people like around the league. Like, what it is Bo Kircher from Texas A&M. There are a lot of good mid-level guys who are going to go anywhere from rounds 3 to 5 who have a good chance to be a starter or outperform their draft position. That's really the point. But it's really deep. Now, I would tell you, though, because not everyone listening is a Vikings fan, if your team needs a tight end, the drop-off after Kenyon Sadiq is major. It's
really?
It's Stowers. The issue with him is blocking. We actually did a great interview. Andrew DeCecco, who works for our company Inside the Birds, interviewed Stowers last weekend. You could, if you follow me on X at Kaplan NFL or Inside the Birds on X, you could find it. We tweeted the interview out, but he's a very talented pass catcher, but he's not real wide. He's not a wide body. So again, like the Vikings, they're in a position where they don't need a tight end. But if you're a team that needs one, there's a lot of depth to this position.
Yeah, my brother and I apologize too. At Kaplan NFL, at Kaplan NFL. I tripped out and said at Adam Caplan. That's inaccurate. At Kaplan NFL, have X mark the spot with that follow. All right. Well, I look forward to getting maybe more into that in a little bit. But let's technically begin here. Would you like to make a deal?
Jonathan Grenard?
No. Now, here's the deal. You help this radio show, this Good Friday 9 to noon. You help right now with 10 minutes of information and steam. And if you want, I will arrange for 2 tickets to the Minnesota Timberwolves and Philadelphia 76ers tonight. What do you think, Cappy?
Oh, can you do that? Are you serious?
I probably could get that done. It's not the Spectrum anymore. What's it called?
No, it's it's so funny. I can't remember. It's Comcast. I know that.
Yeah.
It's like the Comcast something center. I don't know. Keep going.
I can help you with that if you want.
Well, I'll be watching. If I don't go, I'll be watching. I'm a diehard Sixers fan.
Well, the Gobert, Embiid, Joel Embiid, and Rudy Gobert. That's worth the price of admission itself, right?
The only problem problem is with Embiid, he's got this mysterious illness. He thought he could play 2 days ago. He was not happy about it. The Sixers absolutely need this game. They want to avoid the play-in, so they need this. And by the way, the Wolves lost to the Sixers early, as you know, in Minneapolis.
Tyrese Maxey, your guy, your rookie from Baylor, VJ Edgecombe. That guy's fantastic.
Good. He is. If the Sixers could just stay in one piece, and Paul George went off against the lowly Washington Lizards. But it's Philadelphia sports is really interesting. You got the Phillies, who the fans are booing, and they're out west now, but they've got a couple young kids they like. And the Flyers are trying to get that last playoff spot.
Right.
Anyway.
All right. Well, let's go Broad Street Bullies. Let's go Bobby Clark, and let's go to this football question. I'd bet, I'm going to make a statement. Tell me what you think. I'd bet Kirk Cousins starts in Las Vegas next season. Would you take that action, or do you agree with it, and why? I
agree with it because the money that he's going to get is super high-end backup money. So the way I understood it is he really felt and still feels at 38 years old that he could still be a starting quarterback. And going to the Rams wanted him. He was not going to start. Stafford's a starter. There's no debate there. Where he goes to the Raiders, it's really interesting. Their brass is going on record, especially Clint Kubiak, the head coach, who will call the plays, and it's his offense, that he envisions a smart situation to keep Mendoza on the sidelines and just wait till he's ready. Now, Kirk had the situation with Atlanta where he was shocked when they told him that they were going to draft Michael Penix. That's not what he was thinking when he signed there and signed that big deal. He didn't want that, and unfortunately he got hurt. But Kirk could still play. There's no question about it. He showed that last season. I would agree with you. He absolutely will start some games. I giggle when you're talking about that Penix thing, Adam, because I'll just never forget the story of Cousins driving to the Falcons draft party for an appearance, had no idea they were taking Penix. He heard it on the radio right as he pulled into his spot. I mean, you talk about discombobulated. You're not obligated to tell everybody everything you're going to do. But I mean, if you sign in a new place and then they take a quarterback in the top 10, I'd kind of give the veteran a nudge, wouldn't you? Yeah, and the thing is, and this is one of the reasons why Terry Fontenot, the GM, was fired. Think about it. But Arthur Smith, the owner, signed off on it. The structure to Kirk Cousins' contract was so significant in terms of fully guaranteed money at signing, and the way that the guarantees were structured. He actually had the first year was fully guaranteed, the second year was fully guaranteed, and then they put $10 million in a fully guaranteed roster bonus in year 3. What they're telling you is we're not playing the young quarterback for the first 2 seasons. Well, guess what? Yeah. That's not what they did. The contract tells you that they won't, but they wound up doing it. It was just a bad job by the Falcons. No one involved in that should have ever done that deal. That was bad, and that's why they're starting over. Well, speaking of that, with Cousins in Vegas and rookies, so I'm listening to Bruce Murray and our mutual friend Charles Davis on NFL radio yesterday, and they're talking about this. And, Charles I guess he was playing the percentages of quarterbacks who are drafted first overall and how frequently they start, kind of like they have to start. And I actually look at it the other way, where if you have a veteran quarterback who still has some juice in the arm, and 2021 with Kubiak and Kirk Cousins here, that they were fantastic together in a non-playoff season. But if you don't you think it's probably best with a rookie quarterback, if you have time to let that individual simmer, then absolutely take that time. Yeah, and this is a first-year head coach. Tom Brady is obviously very involved in personnel. He knows because he went through this, though he was not a first-round pick, as you know. But I would harken back to when you and I first knew each other in around 2000, 2001. Clubs then did not feel the pressure to play the quarterback. Like they would they would let nature take its course. They'd wait. Teams don't wait anymore. As soon as they think the guy's ready, the guy plays. Now, in this situation, because they know they are a total rebuild. They have arguably the NFL's worst roster. Them and the Jets are probably there with the NFL's worst roster. So this is a turnaround program with a new head coach, a first-time head coach. They want to take this slow. They need to build. They have like very little talent around them on offense. They have to sort of semi-rebuild their offensive line with the Raiders. the receiver group the worst in the National Football League. So, on your point, why would you put him out there until you help the quarterback?
Ain't no doubt. I mean, good starting points with Genty and Bowers, but you make excellent points with the rest of the group. And this is Adam Caplan, a high-level reporter and tweeter at Caplan NFL. Go to the X site. He does so many things for so many entities, and it's all very informative and entertaining. You touched on it a little bit out of the gate, but the Vikings at 18. Can you put a player there for us?
All right, so to me, this is, I build what's called a needs board for every team. I do my own, mock draft because I have to be on the air during draft night, so I have to kind of know, okay, what does this team need? Now, what I would tell folks listening, so you'll get, if you do your own mock draft, you have a better chance of getting it right than wrong when you think the draft is always about the future. Mm-hmm. The teams that draft just for the season, everybody's going to get fired. Like it never works when you draft and you're just desperate to solve issues just for the season. It's about the future. Well, let's face it. Bill Polian, the Hall of Fame general manager, told me once that it's not about how many players you have at a position. It's the quality of the player. Could the Vikings line up right now? Sure, at corner, but James Pierre is a fourth corner. Isaiah Rodgers, he's got very little guaranteed money in year two. He's an okay player. Byron Murphy's a nice player. They need a big-time corner. They're not good enough there. They have to address that position. The D-tackle position, the old guys are gone. They need to rebuild that. I really like this offense. Now, the quarterback, you and I have not been together since Kyler Murray signed, which I kind of knew was going to happen about a month and a half ago. That was the word around the league with him. I'm pretty good. I know they have to figure out the third receiver spot, but you could get that in free agency. I'm okay with the offense. Defensively, they need so many holes here. And then the other thing is, what are they going to do with Jonathan Grenard? Because he is really underpaid. That $19 million a year is ridiculous for a guy that talented.
Yeah, couple of things here. First and foremost, since Rodgers left the covenant, Isaiah Rodgers is better than okay. I mean, I'm not going to say
he's a decent player, but he's not a number one corner. Come on,
that could be fair, but he was put in some tough spots last year and came through. And the Jonathan Grenard situation, man, I'm glad you brought that up because it got hot around here for a minute, and it's kind of quieted. And personally, I'm hoping they don't trade him. Awesome guy, but he's also extremely good at what he does. So, I mean, is there any steam there that Grenard might get traded?
Well, here's the thing. They've got Dallas Turner who's got to play, and they're a better team with Grenard. What I always tell people with these situations where it's not resolved, the urgency to trade a player is really high if you're going to do it draft week. Things just seem to happen because it's your last chance to replace that player. Now, if they trade Grenard, it's going to be Dallas Turner. Now, let's not forget, Van Ginkel turns 31 in July. He's had a major injury history. He's great for Brian Flores. Obviously, they know each other from the days in Miami. He's been a perfect fit terrific player. Ton of injuries. It's not going to be easy to resolve this situation with Grenard because if they do this, if they keep him and then they redo the deal, you're doing it after you're redoing it in the middle of his contract. So it's not. Teams don't like doing that, but he is so underpaid, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
But they need more talent in defense. So that side of the football, I know Metellus has been a great story. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna I'll argue with you till the cows come home. They don't have a number one corner. You need one.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and they need help on their front now because they've completely changed their front in terms of talent because they're all gone. So, by the way, Eric Wilson's been an incredible story. I am shocked that he's played as well as he has. When he was in Philly, look, the first time around with the Vikings it wasn't very good. And then he revived his career with the Packers, and he's done a nice job. Yeah.
Now, Adam Caplan, I had former Twins general manager, Minnesota Twins general manager, Thad Levine, on the radio recently to chat about his Rosters and Rings podcast. And I know you join that podcast and maybe even quite frequently. And I hadn't chatted with Thad in a couple of years. How smart is Thad Levine? Holy cow.
Well, here's the thing I didn't know. So somehow I found it on Instagram a couple months ago, and the producer reached out to me, wanted to know if I wanted to be on. I go, yeah, I love this show. And I had no idea how closely he follows the NFL. He really knows his stuff. He's really sharp.
Big time.
And the funny thing is he went to college at Haverford College here in Philly. Mm-hmm. For some reason, Thad pointed this out. I think there's been 12 general managers that went to Haverford College. I don't understand. It's kind of weird. Mm-hmm. But he's really brilliant, and I really enjoyed being on that show. In fact, we were only supposed to do a half an hour to 40 minutes. It wound up being an hour and a half.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, now Thad brought up with me that 10 NFL coaches were being fired after the 2025 season, and he asked me why I thought that happened. So let me start here. What's your take on what at times can be the over-amplified social media side of this, and then I'll explain what I mean.
Well, if you're talking about the pressure to win, or do owners listen to, I mean, it's. I know this. Other reporters have talked about it. Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, is very social media conscious. He sees what's out there. A lot's been written about this. Yeah, there are some owners that you won't know that they're following. Well, he actually put his name out there. There's some owners who are on X, but they're on their fake name and they see what's out there. Yes, I think that's part of it. In fact, I know some coordinators had extra pressure on them because the fan base goes after them on X. Yeah, that absolutely is a factor.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's why I brought it up that way, because like during the season, if you play the averages over the course of time, I've noticed that head coaches and like general managers, that they're not looking they're not doom scrolling, as people would say. Now a good media relations manager, head of communications, if somebody gets taken to task with somebody who's noteworthy, they'll pull them to the side and be like, hey, I know you're busy right now, but take a look at this. So-and-so wrote this. You just need to know this.
Yes,
all right, but that's infrequent. Now, but the owners of teams, they're going to look at a lot, if not everything. They're going to have friends and family members telling them about things that they haven't seen on social media. And I think they over-amplify it. And I think that they get a little trigger happy. And that led to 10 coaches losing their jobs. So that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll never know for sure how much it played. There's no question it played a part with Woody Johnson based on what I've heard. It's part of it.
Right.
But, yeah, it's really tough with social media. But good ownership ignores it. It's about having ownership that doesn't interfere.
Amen.
But wants to know what's going on. And there's got to be communication. I just remember, I'll give you an example. So when Josh Harris took over to be the Commanders owner, I remember someone who worked for him with the Sixers told me, because I had asked this guy, because I knew he worked for him, said, hey, what could you tell me about Josh Harris? I'm interested because, I do radio in Washington. I need to know. And he goes, he's really supportive, but he loves sports. He grew up there. He's going to want to know a lot about what's going on from a day-to-day basis. And their GM and all the people there have to know this. Like, they better communicate well for him, or he's going to have questions. So yeah, communication's important.
Yep, laid out well. A few quickies to close here for at Caplan NFL. He's Adam Caplan, a quarter-century guest with a 9 to noon or 10 to 1 just for fun. PA and Dubé. If running back Jeremiah Love is a generational talent. Like,
he is.
Okay, so you say he is. So say he's like Adrian Peterson. Does it make sense for somebody to give a bunch to get him? And do you think, like, the Vikings should consider that to put that speed with Kyler Murray, Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison?
Well, here's the problem. In front of them, right?
Yeah.
And you always have to look at what's the quality of this draft. I'm going to give you a nice nugget, and if you have me on during draft week, we could further explain this because I have to run in a minute. But
that's a cinch.
There are 32 picks in the first round. No NFL team puts 32 first-round grades. It's typically, as I was told, anywhere from like 9 or 10 to maybe 22 to 24. So basically, if you're picking a 25 or later, that's really a second-round pick. If people can understand that, yes, 32 picks will be made, but this is not a quality first round, which is why I brought this up. So Love might be, to be honest with you, he might be the best player in this draft. I'm just telling you. So here's the problem with it. If you want to get Love and you're picking the teams, to me it really starts at number 4 with the Titans. Pollard's on the last year of his deal. You've got a new front office. You've got really a relatively new front office, a new coaching staff. The Giants don't have their future start at running back. They can get away with what they have. Washington absolutely needs an answer for the future at running back. So yeah, there are a lot of teams, unfortunately, when you look at it in front of them, that need a running back.
Hey, we'll close with this. Hey, go T-Wolves tonight. Dante DiVincenzo shutting down Tyrese Maxey and Gobert dunking on everything that's Sixers basketball. Does that excite you?
It does. I will be glued to the set watching that game.
Main man Adam Caplan with some elite football knowledge. Back after this.
News to Nord, 9 to noon, brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park. The Casino at Canterbury Park is where you're playing poker, blackjack, and table games all year round. You got live racing in the spring. You got music events. Start at the casino, stay for the horses. It's a whole family affair in Shakopee at Canterbury Park. CanterburyPark.com. And, some deviating from the NFL world on a Friday football feast. Let's start with, we had a couple of 40th goal scoring activities last night at Grand Casino Arena. We'll start with Boldy.
Forced to make a save in the opening seconds. Now a strip and a break for Boldy. Boldy's in alone on Tulapilo. He scores!
Tulapilo.
Floated in high glove. 23 seconds into period 2. Boldy's got a pair, and this game's tied at 2.
Now, if we're going off of the captain's intel from yesterday, I guess I hadn't paid attention to this recently. That was his 40th goal, Boldy, but it was his second of the night, as you heard. He scored his 39th in the first period. Apparently, that's the first goal in 5 or 6 games the Wild had scored at home. In the first period. So he did get things started 8.5 minutes in. Boldy did before 2 straight from the visitors tied things up with about 4 minutes left to go in the first period. You heard the early one in the second from him, and then of course, not to be denied, Kirill was very much a thrill in front of the home fans.
As the Wild steals, Kaprizov's got a man wide open. Zuccarello back to Kaprizov, and he scores. What a passing play, and the Wild have their first lead as Kaprizov tucks home his 40th of the year.
So you love seeing that. That made it 3-2 in the second period. Hartman with a couple tallies in the third to pull away for the home squad. Minnesota Wild 5-2 over the lowly Canucks. Got a little hairy there towards the end of the first period and feeling like, well, can't we just put this hideous team away? Well, eventually they did, and it was Quinn Hughes playing against his former team. He had an assist on one of the late goals. You did get to see Zeev Buium and Marco Rossi last night as well. Actually, I think all 3 played. Liam Ogren in the mix as well. So a little bit of a homecoming for those guys, but a 2-point effort for the home team, albeit that after the 3-0 win by the Stars last night over Winnipeg, you could call it potentially in vain, but they got the offense working in front of the home crowd, so you can't argue with that.
And congratulations to beloved Gus Bus. Got his 100th victory last night, and he looked pretty good when he needed to look good. Brock Besser's fast. I'd forgotten about that. And Ottawa is next on the entertainment docket.
30 saves last night for Bus. So in the conversation of what we want to see from him between the pipes moving forward, we dig what we saw last night. Not digging the Wolves, taking the loss last night at Detroit, 113-108. So it was a bit closer than it was just less than a week ago, the sleepy one at Target Center. Anthony Edwards, I don't know if this was a late scratch or it was expected, but Ant not in the mix for this one last night. So that put the onus on Julius Randle, who did his thing, 27 points on the evening. Ayo Dosunmu added 19, but just trouble with this squad appears to be the name of the game in this particular season. Got Duncan Robinson doing his thing. He's hitting the 3-pointers again like he used to do down in Miami. Oscar Thompson, that's Amen's twin brother. Are they twins or just brothers? Twins.
Yep.
Oscar Thompson was in the mix as well. Dennis Jenkins. I don't know who Dennis Jenkins is.
Same.
but 26 for him.
He's good.
He got himself to the line. Jalen Duren, you and I have talked off mic about him and what happened with Jalen Duren is he had 22, and the big man also had 14 boards on the night. So that puts the Timberwolves squarely in the 6th spot, which is interesting as we've been, again, bouncing back and forth. It's like, all right, who do you want to match up with in the first round of the playoffs? You got Jokic and Jamal Murray. I love those matchups with the Nuggets and the Wolves are a blast to watch, and thankfully the Wolves have been on the right side of it recently. But my goodness, with this hamstring injury to Luka Doncic last night, that could potentially change the entire conversation of the currently 3-seeded Los Angeles Lakers if Doncic is on the shelf for an extended period of time.
Yeah, the MRI takes place today. OKC was killing the LA Lakers before Doncic went down. Ended up winning the game by like 43 points. So big MRI for Lake Show devotees today on Luka's hamstring. And the Detroit Pistons, if there's a tougher, just mentally and physically tougher team in the NBA than them, I need to see who it is. OKC and San Antonio would enter that conversation. But man, JB Bickerstaff has done an awesome job with the Motor City Pistons.
And then the final thing for you, the Wolves, not the Wolves, the Twins, excuse me, they blow out the Royals yesterday in the getaway or come home game, the finale in Kansas City. And it's a homecoming affair. It is your home opener today, 3:10 p.m. at Target Field. Bailey Ober is matching up with Joe Boyle. In what will be indeed a thriller, a chilly one. Bring your jackets when you head to Target Field later today. So we hope that the Boyle is lanced and our favorite 9 get a W on a Friday in the home opening series.
When 9 to noon continues, Old Friday Football Feast co-host Paul Charchian joins us. This is 9 to noon.